Well, hello and welcome back to TwoSun Tuesday. What I have here in front of me is the TS361. This thing is, at least at the time of this recording, super duper brand new, but I have been able to play around with it a bit and get all my thoughts together, so I did want to cover this thing. This is a Rihe design, possibly pronounced Rye. I don't know, it's R-I-H-E. I've always referred to him as Rihe. But I've had basically all of them that have come out, and this one is quite a bit smaller than a lot of the rest of them, in several ways. But I still actually like this thing quite a bit. We do see we have a quite a large flipper tab sort of thing on here. It probably could have been done just a little bit smaller, but that's perfectly fine. So we have a Sheepsfoot blade going on here of 14C28N steel. Yeah, there you go. There, 361. And something that I did notice during my unboxing is the blade stock on this is much, much thinner than standard TwoSuns. And I'm talking by about a millimeter here. This blade stock is under 3 millimeters. It's 2.8. Whereas it seems like TwoSun's normal blade stock thickness for almost everything is 3.8. Between 3.7 and 4, but 3.8 seems to be right around where they like to be. So this thing was already kind of exciting for me. The finger choil, for me, a little small, as you can see. That's not super comfortable for me. If it was, then I would just slice through my finger. Hey, it's basically what happens unless someone like Medford actually makes a finger choil, or Spyderco, who doesn't do the overgrinds for their finger choils, then I pretty much can't use them. So there it is. But that's my quite large hands. Somebody with normal to smaller hands probably have no problem with this whatsoever. As you can see, this is a 3-finger knife here. If you can choke up, then you can get a full 4 fingers on here. But it's still very, very comfortable. It dips down in the back here to make it really easy for me to grab that and get that behind the meat of my inner knuckles, if you will. And it actually locks in quite nicely. And it also gets a little bit thicker up top here. We got nice jimping, exactly where I think that it should be for doing any of these kind of cuts going on here. But it's also fairly interesting in that it has a little bit of a harpoon hook here at the end. And you can use that to kind of brace up there and, for doing utility cuts, because this is quite a bit of a sheep's foot blade here. But I also find it convenient with my larger hands. I can get above there to grab onto the over the harpoon hump there into the little swedged area, and that's super comfortable for me as well. Gets a lot of control right up there at the tip. I can't quite get all the way up there like you would for I don't know, like a skinning blade for hunting or something like that. But I don't know why you would want to do that for sheep's foot here. It's a titanium frame lock, as you would probably assume. And it's got some interesting milling going on here. You got some vertical lines, a couple of 90-degree turns, and then, I don't know, people shrugging? Maybe? Yeah, probably. And then we have the pocket clip here on the back that mounts from the underside. As this does have milling taken out on the inside there, I really wish that the lockbar insert, or not insert, but the lockbar relief there was done on the inside, just to kind of keep that design going from one side to the other. But, oh well, there was probably a reason why they didn't do that. But either way, I really do end up liking this thing quite a bit. It's it's a sheep's foot, and CM Designs has put out several at this point. Certainly one with TwoSun, but also with Kubi and others now. And I don't know, there's just something a little bit different about this one that really kind of makes me happy. It's very thin, actually. We have Let's see, 0.46. So it is thinner than the Spyderco PM2 here. I will do blade comparisons in just a moment. But yeah, it's very easily and arguably less than a 3-inch blade. 2.82 basically from the hump here out to the tip. So, you know, you'll have a little bit less cutting edge, but hey, if you have a 3-inch and under kind of regulation in your particular place of dwelling, this thing will work super, super great. There's not really a huge amount of other deployment options outside of that flipper tab. You can, if you have enough traction on your fingers, I suppose, try to push that out to release the detent, but that's okay. It works out fine. Flipping action is obviously great on there. I also do like to do a lighter flick on especially some smaller flipper knives. That's just something that I find is quite satisfying. And this one obviously works super great for that. So yes, this thing is also 3.46 ounces or 98 grams. So yeah, I guess it's under 100 grams. It's definitely not an ounce an inch, but hey, it's really hard to do that with titanium frame lock in general. But yeah, let's go ahead and do some blade comparisons here. You can see it's definitely smaller than PM2 and the Benchmade 940. Let's see, I suppose this is a smaller one. I'll pull out the Kalashnikov 74. And yeah, you can see it's definitely smaller than that as well. I keep saying definitely, like I'm a freaking Rain Man or something. I need to stop that. But so I did want to mention up here the no lockbar access. It is scalloped out there, and in general, even though this is a little thinner than usual, still have absolutely no problems operating that whatsoever. What I am actually surprised at is how nice the action is on this, for the blade being thinner than a lot of other TwoSuns. A lot of TwoSuns out there with the 3.8 to 4 millimeter blades. The blades are much heavier. That really forces it closed, so they can get away with action that's not, you know, absolutely super tuned to perfection because they have brute force there. They obviously couldn't hide behind that with this one, and yet still great. Little backspacer there. And even though it doesn't come up here, you still have all of this. Absolutely no chance you're going to get yourself with this while it's closed. The blade is absolutely encompassed all the way there, as well as at the tip. There's no real way to get in there, so that's pretty darn fantastic. Yeah, I really do have to give kudos to them for making a knife that is small, that is actually quite comfortable for my larger hands. Obviously, like I'm saying, it's not a 4-finger knife for me, but the 3 fingers that I do have feel very, very secure in here. Almost like I don't potentially need that. I guess it's maybe 3.5 or so. But yeah, very, very nice design that really does encompass a lot of different hand sizes and really works a lot with how compact it is and how ergonomic they've actually made that. So I really appreciate that. This is kind of one of my favorites that I've recently got. That's kind of why I wanted to cover it here. But those are my main thoughts on there. I'm not going to cover a whole lot more as far as different opinions and things like that in the video at this point. So if that's what you were kind of looking for, was comparisons and specs and kind of looking it over, then I appreciate you for stopping by. For the rest of us, I'm going to go ahead and take a look on the inside here. Some people like that, some people don't. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and section these videos off like that. So, pocket clip mounted from the inside, so I don't need to take that off. We got T8 construction. And not a whole lot of it. We got one on the back and the pivot. And there we are. And yeah, we can see we have some skeletonization going on in here. And that's why I was saying, since they did already mill portions of this out, I do wish that they did have that on the inside there. This one on the inside has a little engraving of 32. I've seen some numbers on a couple of them. It's part of the manufacturing process, I'm assuming. Yeah, nothing really to do with like a particular number of a knife. Because I've had some that say like 30 something over here and then like 48 over on the other scale. So yeah, I don't know. It definitely has to do with their manufacturing process, not really a numbering or anything. But yeah, we have skeletonization on both sides. You know, it's not incredibly deep, but this is, of course, milled on both sides. So, you know, they certainly did what they could. This isn't going to be a feather light knife, but still very nice and comfortable. And still something that you can absolutely wear when you're wearing those light fabric shorts that are probably coming up pretty soon for a lot of folks here. Here in Denver, we got some snow coming in the next week. But, you know, eventually once April rolls around or so, we'll probably be getting back up into the 80s and stuff. So I'll be out of sweatpants and back into, while I'm lazing around the house and back into some shorts. Last thing, yes, we do have a D-shaped pivot there on the end, on the lockbar side. Well, that's about it. Super simple to open up. Here's wrist cam for you in case you missed that. And one pocket, or one over there. Something to note that I do like the kind of look and implementation of these pocket clips that are mounted on the inside. I really appreciate the look of them. Just keeps that clean and everything like that. But that does mean that a screw is tapped straight into the titanium of the pocket clip, which for some can kind of cause some concerns for durability over time. Because, I mean, titanium is stronger than steel, but it's definitely not harder than steel. So some things with screw taps in there can kind of deteriorate over time, but it's really not something that you need to worry about unless you really, really catch something a whole lot of times. I haven't really had any problems with any of them, so that's why I'm still on the camp of being okay with it. But yeah, just figured I would throw that out there. But yeah, that's the TS361 from Rihe. Really neat, kind of a smaller in-betweener knife that really works quite well, especially if you like that sheepsfoot kind of blade there, with a little bit of finger indexing for doing downward utility cuts. So, alrighty, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.